JD Runnels here, Sooners helping Sooners, and just honored. I don't really know the adjectives to use. Some people call him coach. People that played for him probably call him Coach Switzer, but I'm gonna do you a favor, coach, and call you the legend you are. And I'm honored to have Barry Switzer
Well,
here.
you're nice to say that, JD. I've never been one that bought into that stuff. I get upset. I never liked a lot of these titles that they're giving me and they're thrown out there. And Al Ashback had a lot to do with it back when I was big on the shows.
Yeah.
And so I give it to Al. He started a lot of that. But I have always given credit where credit's due, and I've been asked for a guy wants me to text him when this is over with. Is it Chuck Larson or Craig Larson and with ESPN and Athlon magazine that wants me to talk about Andy Reid? Well, I don't even know Andy, but I know that what Andy's going to have to tell them, and what I'm going to tell them is, hey, it's the people you're around. It's one of the success he's had is about the people and the people you surround yourself with. First of all, the players that you got on the field, then the coaches, then you. Last, you're at the back of the line. Andy's not the front of the line, I promise you. And I wasn't at the front of the line. It was about the people I surrounded myself with while we were successful.
Well, whatever you did, coach, success followed you on every level, it seems like. And if you don't mind, just tell us, everybody, where it started out in Arkansas.
Well, I came out of a little town in South Arkansas. It's called Cross. It's a town of about 4,000 people. We're 2 miles from the Louisiana line. And it's back when recruiting was basically a letter. We didn't have a phone where I grew up. I grew up in the rural area of Arkansas, South Arkansas. And so it was, if you lived at 2 or 3 miles outside of town on a gravel road, you had no utilities, you had no electricity, you had no water, you had no gas. You lived in a shotgun house built off of stumps, and people always thought, wonder why they're built up. Well, hell, the hogs and the dogs and the chickens had to have a place to live. So that's why it's built up like that. But there was no, I remember there was no, underneath it, you had no, what do you call it, insulation and all. It was just cracks and floor, and you see the dirt. Oh, it's colder than hell. It had one room in the house. It had a pot-belly wood stove back there that you got heated the room, the kitchen, and then there's a wood stove beside it. And if you ever cook in a wood stove or bake in a wood stove, you turn everything in the oven every 15 minutes because that's what it's like to cook in a wood stove. You have to turn it because it's not cooking all the way around. You're cooking one side of it right now. So I had that job a lot of times when I went to the kitchen. They'd tell me to turn the biscuits or whatever was cooking. But I grew up in that era, and I had to pump water for the cow, milk cow. We had milk cows. We had the hogs that we slaughtered, and when it came hog killing time, and hung up out there and cut their throat, let them bleed out, and cured them and all that. And I helped Daddy. I went out there with Daddy with we had a milk cow, and Daddy would be milking, sitting on a little small stool, doing the cow, and every once in a while, squirt me in the face. Sour milk, fresh milk, and but it was that way, and it had the garden, and it was a different time for a lot. But we all lived that way, black or white. You lived in the country in rural South Arkansas. We all lived the same way, and I grew up, born in 1937, and grew up in actually California. When the war started in 1941, I remember everyone gathered around the battery radio listening to Delano Roosevelt, the president's speech of the infamous, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor and bombed us in 1941 and December the 7th. And I've always been good about dates. People go June 6th, I think about that too, D-Day in Normandy, and that dates stick in my mind. August the 6th, we dropped the bomb in Hiroshima. August the 9th, Nagasaki. Things like that I remember in history because they were. I lived it, and I remember it, and it had an impact on me. And but I grew up at that time, and all of a sudden this war comes along, and everybody from Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas moved to California to work in the aircraft carriers, the San Pedro Terminal Island, work on the ships, building ships. Women worked at Douglas Lockheed, building airplanes, and it was Rosie the Riveter days. You've seen pictures of Rosie the Riveter. That was what it was for women, and those were the days. And mother worked as a waitress at a buffet called Arky's out there at Terminal Island, San Pedro, where Daddy was a paint chipper. The reason Daddy wasn't in service, he had one ear, he was deaf in one ear. So he was 4F, and so he served and did his part of us winning the war. And I was Long Beach, California, and I grew up. God, it was a great area. And so we're 5 blocks off the ocean, Santa Monica Boulevard, and we right down the Highway 101, US 101, and 5 blocks. My home, we was about 600 square foot, 3-bedroom. I had a Murphy's bed. I had pulled out of the wall that I slept on in the living room. Then there's a bedroom and there's a kitchen. There's 3 rooms in the house and a bathroom off Mom and Dad's bedroom. But it was 3 houses built exactly like that down an alley, and that's where I lived. And it was obviously rental property. But I grew up there and I started school out there, and I learned how to make a teepee in kindergarten, and I'm still making that same teepee when I was in the 4th grade. I didn't learn the damn thing in California. I probably should. I got back to Arkansas in the 5th grade after the war's over, and I remember they pulled out our Big Chief notebooks and the pen and pencil, and I was sitting there at my little desk, and she said, "Tell I take notes," and all. And everybody got up, and they all been through the CrossFit Arkansas educational program system from that elementary school. Well, but she started talking, they started cursive. And I went T-H-E. I'm writing D.
Right.
Yeah, I'm still printing. I have never learned cursive. I mean, I was so far behind that I had to get a tutor. My mother and father got me a tutor and to teach me and try to catch up, and spent months catching me up in school. For those first 3 years, I missed being in an Arkansas program. So Arkansas was way ahead of Southern California in teaching kids the necessary skills that you needed to start school. But Daddy got back, and everybody, like I said, from Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma went out there. And I remember it was a song that was in a jukebox. We'd play a jukebox out there where Mother worked in Arky's Cafe. Said, "Dear old Arky, if you see Arky telling Texas out in California picking prunes and squeezing orange juice out of olives." Yeah, thinking about that. Hey, I don't remember a line like that, unless I've heard it 1,000 times.
I love
when I was growing up. But when he got back, the job he left was filled, and everybody that came back to the paper mill and sawmill, it was a tough town to live in because everything was a labor job that was in the woods, cutting down with the cross saws, 2 people cutting down big pine trees to plane and take a jack up on the back of 2 mules pulling a flatbed trailer out of the woods, and that was a tough job. And the guys at the paper mill are making 6 bits an hour, and people, you say out to a kid today, "You know what a bit is, girl?" No, it's 12.5 cents. Man, 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits a dollar. Everybody ever cross it, stand up and holler.
There it is.
Yeah, so it's shaving haircut, 6 bits, but that's 75 cents. And bits is 12.5 cents. 2 bits is a quarter, 4 bits is 50 cents. 6 bits is 75 cents. But anyway, Daddy got back, and hell, there was no jobs, and said Daddy had to do something to help raise family and all. And so he started bootlegging whiskey because it's a dry county in Ashley County. So Daddy didn't make whiskey that way. He was a bootlegger. They called him a bootlegger, but he didn't make the stuff, And but we'd go down to Louisiana and Mississippi. Daddy'd buy a couple cases, 3 or 4 cases of some cheap whiskey that's about half pints, $1, and pints, $2. So Daddy had a couple of brothers and the porters working for him, and I knew them all, Little Charlie, Big Red, and all my guys, or all my buddies, and because I was Mr. Frank's boy, and I'd have to always walk home down that old gravel road to get home. I quit football when I was in 8th grade. I wasn't going to play football anymore because I had to walk home late at night, dark, down that road, and then have a ride, and athletic director, and I always remember this, a guy named Lindley Yarbrough came to me and asked me why I quit, because they thought I was going to be a good player, and I transferred from El Dorado. We'd gone back to El Dorado, Arkansas. I just get to go rattling here. I'm moving around, but I'm in CrossFit, and then war was over. We come back, and Daddy starts bootlegging and all. My mother takes me and my younger brother. We go to El Dorado to live with his sister. She wanted to get out of that, and we get over to El Dorado. We're living in a little trailer, Airstream, one of them aluminum-looking Airstream trailers, and I slept on the couch up front, and Mama slept. My brother slept back there in bed with Mama in the back, and we lived there for 2 years. And I met a lot of kids there in El Dorado that ended up playing football with in Arkansas. We became friends. But then eventually when we went back, somebody, Mom and Daddy got a truce, and we went back to, and I was in 8th grade. I went to 6th and 7th grade at El Dorado. And then 8th grade, I went back to CrossFit. And it really was upsetting to me because when I was in El Dorado, I was around some coaches that really encouraged me, pat me on the back, tell me I did a good job, make a good play, say, hey, very good play, keep it up. And the next thing I knew, it's the 7th grade, and I'm on a team of 8th and 9th graders playing. Hell, I was starting as a nose guard, and I was quick, and I could jump around and make a play and get the backfield. And I was really, I mean, they were bragging on me. Hell, I was busting my ass. When someone praises you and talks to you and say you did a good job, you keep on doing it. And that's always why constructive criticism is good, but don't do it in front of other people. Take someone to the side and you do that and tell them what they did wrong or whatever, but don't yell and scream at anybody when they don't. They might yell and scream at somebody when they do it good and clap your hand, and everybody else wants some of that. So anyway, I was doing really good. So we moved back, starting 8th grade, I go back to CrossFit. I was really upset because I was doing good in 8th grade there and junior high school, and it looked like I was going to start, and I was just upset, and we went out football there, and they were playing me at fullback. You wanted to play fullback, and I was playing fullback. I could run pretty good. I wouldn't make anybody miss me. I was tough, physical, but I could run pretty good. And so next thing I know, I quit, and the athletic director comes to me, Lynn Yarbrough, who graduated OSU from Haven area, Oklahoma. I went to his funeral. And I used to have him come up and sit when I was coaching here. I used to have him come up and sit in my office during ball games. He'd retired. He's an old man in my age right now. So he'd come to the games, and I'd put him up there. But he came to me and asked me why. I said, well, I like walking home at night, Coach. That's the late I get home. It's dark down the roads, nobody picking us, no one driving down the roads late at night. So he said, I'll get some businessmen in town, alternate taking him home, which he did. So every other day, I'd have a different guy person drive me home after football breaks. So Lynn Yarbrough made that happen because they wanted me back after football. It ended up, anyway, I ended up having a pretty good career at CrossFit, and I was at Lineman of the Year in the conference, and my conference I was in, and I read the newspapers every weekend. I'd see who all the best players around the state they talked about and all that. And next thing I know, I'm being recruited by Arkansas, TCU, LSU, and no one had any film. They just come up and looked at you out in the gym shooting buckets, running around doing some climbing a rope over the way. They just looked at your size and all. And I was 200 pounder back then and 6 foot, and but that was pretty good size for a guy. He could run, and so I went to Arkansas. I was a freshman when I reported to Arkansas in 1955. I went to Arkansas because I had some other buddies up there already, and I turned down LSU. Charlie McClendon was from Louisville, Arkansas, Charlie Mack, and he was assistant coach at LSU for Paul Dietzel when they won the national championship. Billy Cannon and all them guys were playing there, and Warren Rapp, quarterback. Max Fugler was a good buddy of mine, played linebacker from Faraday, Louisiana. I talk to Max all the time. He calls me, asks me when I'm coming to Houston to go dinner with him and all. I need to go do that. But anyway, I went to Arkansas. Frank Bull, I pulled in and saw the sign, Fayetteville, 12,500. 12,500 today, but it's 12,000 people.
Wow.
When I pulled into Fayetteville, and there was only probably about 6,000 or 7,000 students there then. But I was a freshman, and they taking about 50 a year and all. But I was like a lot of freshmen. You're disappointed, and having to go through all that. And then my sophomore year, I was redshirted, and yet I knew I was as good as some of the guys that were playing, or playing my position. And I was talking to my high school coach, and he says, I was thinking about transferring to down to Monticello or Laceville. All those guys were playing Bow Evils, and which is only 40 miles from my hometown, across it, in Monticello A&M. And he said, Harry said to me, he said, Barry, can you play at Arkansas? I said, yeah, I can play. And he says, well, don't leave. Stay there and compete. Well, I thank him for making me look at it that way. It'd been easy to just go do the other, but I stayed in my sophomore year. I'm playing after my redshirt year. I'm playing, and they select people defensively. Back then, you had to play both ways. The 24 guys that played, you had to play both ways. I mean, 11 out there on defense, go to same 11 played offense. So you had to play both ways, and but they selected your own defensive talent and ability first, and since I could run pretty good, I don't know why they just stuck me at center or guard. They said, "Where you want to play?" I'm shit, damn, and they stuck me at center, and because I had some quickness, I was natural snapping the ball, stepping at the same time, and I was fairly pretty good body athlete, and so I started playing center, and it was back in an era, no face mask.
Wow.
I was the last class that played no face mask.
That's something.
Yeah, I had my nose broken 3 times. So every time I broke my nose, I knew what had happened. Like the last time I fell and broke my nose, I went to the ER out here, and they took a picture. 3 hours later, they come back and says, your nose is broken. I said, hell, I knew that. That's what I came in here for. I told you my damn nose is broken. I've already said it, so I don't need y'all touching it.
That's
Because
right.
I set that cartilage myself because I wanted to get it the way I wanted it.
Sure.
I'd done it a couple other times. So anyway, I was a guy that was a bust my ass. I practiced hard. I didn't make mistakes. I was smart. I gave effort, knew how to practice. And I've always told my teams when I brought them in here, the guys that play them for easy, you wouldn't be recruited unless you had the skills, talents to play. We wouldn't have offered you a scholarship. But what separates you is guys that don't make mistakes and know how to practice it, are the ones that go play faster and quicker than other people. And I said, and I know that to be a fact, and that's the way it has to be. And that helped kids along a lot quicker if they did that and understood that. That's why I've always said, you go down to Texas high school and you see kids know how to practice down there. Why? Competition, the coaching, and all those things. And they just produce more athletes and more of them. They got more population, but they do a great job of preparing kids to get ready to play high school football, college football, better than a lot of other states in competition that they had to play in. But I did that, and I played in my senior year. I was elected captain by my team, but I wasn't a good player. I mean, I wasn't a great player at all. But I played, and we won the championship. We won the Southwest Conference Championship my senior year. Frank Broyles' first championship team beat Georgia Tech in the Gator Bowl.
Wow.
And so I'm thinking that, what the hell am I going to do? Go in the Army? I got to go serve my country. I got to go, as soon as school's over, I got to go do that. And I did that. And I went to Aberdeen, Maryland, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri for basic, and on to Aberdeen, Maryland for ordnance school. I went to Brooks Robinson was a friend of mine. Brooks was playing third. He's from Little Rock, Arkansas. I coached his brother at Arkansas, Gary Robinson. And so Brooks is at third, and I had no way to get in touch with him, but I went there and left him a note at the box, and Brooks left me a message there. Next time I came back, it said that there'll be a ticket here for you every time you come. So I had tickets every time I hitchhiked down 30 miles to Baltimore to see Brooks. I went for a Yankee game, and I saw Maris and Mantle play.
Wow.
From 1961 when Mantle hit the 61. And when Maris hit it. And I'm with Maris one day here in Oklahoma City. We got him come in and play for a golf tournament, the Swing for Sight golf tournament. Lee Allen and I, and Bud Wilkinson and I started that tournament in the early 70s. I was her coach in Swing for Sight because I had 2 kids that had amblyopia eye problems, and we wanted to pre-test kids that go to school that can't read what's on the board and don't and they see double. And so like my little girl said, Kathy, when she put her glasses on the first time, she said, Daddy, you only have one head. Yeah, she's seeing double. She's saying 2 head there. Now if you look at me and think about that. And you take kids and you say, well, they're not smart, stick your ass in the back of the class, you know what I mean? And that's what happened to kids because they couldn't read. They saw everything in double. Well, hell, they're going to fall behind and they're not going to be able to read what was on the board or be able to transcribe it or read it or whatever. And so they were classified as that. So we wanted to test for that, pre-test it. That's why we said I did the Swing for Sight golf tournament, is to give kids testing before they go to school if they have amblyopia and other type of eye disease or some ailment that cause them problems. But I was sitting with Maris in the back of a limo going out. We're the only 2 in the limo going out from the old downtown Skirvin Hotel at Skirvin. We're driving out there, just the oak tree had just opened. And we were riding along, and I looked at Roger and I said, Roger, you played football, didn't you? He says, yeah, I played football. I played fullback. I set a national record my senior year of scoring touchdowns. And I said, were you recruited by everybody? He said, yeah, I visited Oklahoma. I said, you visited Oklahoma? He said, yeah, I rode a Trailways and a Greyhound 2 days to get here to Norman, Oklahoma for that visit. And I said, well, it had been something because they were recruiting Mickey Merrill too at the same time. And said, you and Mickey could play in the same backfield. He said, we'd rather play in the outfield together.
That's right.
That's right. They were playing the outfield together. But he said something that was so important I hadn't thought about. But to Roger says, Barry, why I hit 61 home runs? I told him I saw him hit one in Baltimore that I went to Yankee game, Elson Howard, and had Jim Gentile at first base for the Orioles and Brooks at third, and they had, most of them were good teams, but great players. But he says the reason I got to hit 61 is they couldn't pitch around me. I got Allen behind me, and so I knew they had to throw to me. So I went to play. I just dug in. I knew I was going to get to swing at something. And so because they really walked me. I mean, it'd be because they just threw bad pitches, right? But they couldn't intentionally go around me. So so he credits Mantle with that, and then Mantle's fitting about 56 or 7, 8 home runs that year. Ended up that season just right behind him on that kind of pace. It was neck and neck.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, because Mantle's knocking him out of the park too. But anyway, now let me tell you about how I got here. Graduated college, went to the service, went back to Arkansas, and Coach Broyles called me in his office and said, what are you planning on doing? And he said, I said to him, well, I'm thinking about going to law school. And which my brother did. My brother went to Dartmouth and the Vanderbilt Law, but he was younger than I am. He was 5. And my brother really busted his ass in academics. I never did. And like he did. But my other uncles were lawyers in CrossFit, and Daddy was a bootlegger. And so I think I'm going to go to law school. He said, I want you to be on my staff. I want you to coach for me. He says, if you don't like coaching, you can go to law school next year. I said, I guess I could, couldn't I? And he said, yeah. But Frank saw something in me I didn't see and didn't know, that he just felt I got to be an asset, be around the players and the team and the freshmen and recruiting, coaching the freshman team and all. And which after being that for 2 years, he made me a full-time assistant in '63. And that guy on the wall, you got up there, Jim McKenzie, behind her, your old feminine over there, is Jim McKenzie. He was my mentor. He was the guy that I really admired. He played for Coach Bryant at Kentucky. And him and Pat James were both on the staff with me here at Oklahoma. First came the first year. And Jim and Pat were together at Kentucky with Coach Bryant and Walt Jaworski and those guys, and a guy named Vito Babe Perella. Played 17 years in NFL quarterback. And so it's, well, you know, we got 1950. Well, we were on the national champion, which we were voted national champions. But this is back before the bowl games were included. And Oklahoma happened to play Kentucky that year in Sugar Bowl, but it helped big time. Bear Bryant's Kentucky team, and Pat and Jim were on that team. And so anyway, I believed in that guy, and I was on the staff of Hayden Fry at Arkansas. He was offered a job, head job. He wanted me to go with him. I turned him down. Doug Dick, he went to SMU, and Doug Dickey got the Tennessee job. Doug wanted me to go with him, offered me a job, be inside linebacker coach for him. I turned him down, and Doug and I were close. I kind of, I thought about it, all I think about it, but there's always a girl involved. My girl I was dating was younger than me. She still hadn't graduated yet, so I graduated, and I turned that down, and I was waiting for Jim to get his job. And believe it or not, Jim McKenzie gets the Oklahoma job. Wow. And we come here. Oklahoma had not beaten Texas in 8 years. Oklahoma had not beaten Texas in 8 years. We took the same players, went and beat Texas the next year. Right. Went and beat Texas. And I've always said the game is played from here up, the neck up. It is. Well, I like the other talents be 6'5", 275, and run 4.5. That'd be great, but it's not. And it's played from the neck up. And it's all about getting kids to believe here, how you approach the game, get people playing in the right positions, and how you go about practice and getting kids mentally and physically tough. And we did that, and we beat Texas ass. And then the next year, we win 10-1, and we beat Tennessee in the Orange Bowl. So we won the championship, and we not only beat Texas that year, first time in 8 years, we beat Nebraska's ass here at home when they were undefeated. Jim McKenzie's the coach of the year in the Big 8 conference, and he dies of a heart attack the next spring. And he gets the Chuck Fairbanks, who would come with us from Houston, gets the head job. And I was going to be coaching defense and Pat James and all, but Chuck come to me and said, "You're the only one that knows how to run the Arkansas offense," which I'd been on the offensive side of the ball, because Jim had wanted me to that first year because we were on the Arkansas playbook, and I coached both ways at Arkansas, because when you play both ways, you got to coach both ways. Right. And so I was Galen Hall and I and Homer Rice were the offensive side of the ball. But in game planning and all, I set the board, first down, looking at defensive structures, how other people played. I kind of set the game, second down, long, short, medium, all third, what we were going to do. And if they line up that way. And next year we go to the Orange Bowl, beat Tennessee in the Orange Bowl. We're going 10-1, end up 2 or 3 in the country.
We're going to take a quick timeout. I just think I want to make a point that Frank Broyles hired you.
Right.
Isn't he known? The award is for nation's best assistant coach. So then the award that is named for who is the best assistant coach in the nation hired Barry Switzer. Yeah. To me, that says a lot. I want to hear more from that story. We're going to come right back. JD Runnels with the legend Barry Switzer here with Sooners Helping Sooners.